Okay, let's make something that looks a little Mexican. Now, this by no means is not a traditional Mexican recipe. This is just one easy, quick weeknight meal that I enjoy making and my family enjoys. So we're going to make a chicken enchilada with refried beans and maybe even a little rice. I'm starting with 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of flour. And we will create a roux that will thicken our enchilada sauce. Okay, now I'm going to add some homemade chicken broth. If you don't have homemade chicken broth, you can just use a store chicken broth or even make a broth out of chicken base or chicken bouillon. And we will cook that until it begins to thicken. If you've never made homemade enchilada sauce, you're going to be in for a big surprise. There's a huge difference between this and the canned stuff that you buy in the grocery store. It's so fresh and bright and really has wonderful flavor, and it's pretty easy to put together. Okay, so the flour has thickened the chicken broth just slightly. Enchilada sauce is not real thick, it just has a little bit of texture or body to it. And the seasonings we're going to use are a half a teaspoon of cumin, a half a teaspoon of oregano, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of garlic, and a half a teaspoon of salt. And then we will use 4 tablespoons of chili powder. Same chili powder that you would use if you're making chili. Okay, we've let that simmer a few minutes, so let's give it a taste and see if it needs anything. It's perfect. Not gonna do a thing to it. That's how easy it is to make your homemade enchilada sauce. Next up is the refried beans, so I'm just gonna move the enchilada sauce over there. Okay, I have 6 tablespoons of butter that is melting. I'm going to use canned pinto beans that I've drained some of the liquid off, but not all. And to that I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic, and a half a teaspoon of onion powder.
Now, I've made refried beans with bacon fat and lard and ghee, and I've even started with dried beans. And the end results were leaps and bounds better than canned refried beans. But I've pretty much settled on using canned pinto beans and butter. It's just my preference, but you might want to experiment and find what you like best. I am confident that once you've had homemade refried beans, it will be very hard to settle for canned refried beans from the grocery store again.
And that's it. The refried beans need to simmer now, and then I will mash them with the potato masher. I don't like them completely emulsified. I just like to break them down a little bit, but they do need to simmer for probably about 20 minutes, half an hour, until they soften just a little bit more, and then we'll come back and we will mash those beans and they will be ready for dinner. And while the beans are simmering, let's put together the chicken enchiladas. So I buy rotisserie chicken from Sam. I buy 3 or 4 at a time. Remove the meat from the bone, dice it up, package it in my food saver packages, and freeze it. And then it is ready to go for dishes like this or soup, and it is extremely handy. I love doing that. I can make large batches of chicken broth and put it in the freezer, and it just saves me a lot of time doing that. So, chicken is cooked, and just like that, it is ready to go. We refer to this chicken blend that I'm making here as Stephanie chicken because we're Steffi chicken. She came in one day and while I was making this and ate about half of the bowl full before I could even use it in my recipe. Okay, so that was flame roasted green chilies, again from Sam's Club. They add a little bit of heat to them. This is fresh garlic, about a tablespoon. I had some shallots that were diced in the refrigerator, so I'm going to throw those in. I like a little bit of black bean in there. And I also like to put a little bit of corn in there. Next up is a little bit of sour cream. And I've got a package of the melty quesadilla cheese. I'm going to put a little bit of that in the filling. I'll hold back just a little bit for the top of the casserole when we get it put together. A little bit of oregano. To give this a taste and make sure I've got enough heat. So if I need to add a little bit more of that green chili, I can do it at this point. I do think it could use a little more heat though, so we're going to put just a little bit more green chili in it. Okay, I'm going to go stir those beans and get the enchilada sauce and meet you back over here, and then we'll put these enchiladas together. I'm going to pour just a little sauce in the bottom of the pan it helps to keep the enchiladas from sticking. Now I do have quite a bit of filling here, and I will not be able to use it all in this dish, but we'll make tacos and other things out of it as the week progresses, so every scrap of it will be enjoyed. Put a little additional meat on top. Again, this is definitely not authentic or even traditional Mexican, but we like it, and it's simple and very, very tasty. There we go. Okay, so this will bake 35 to 40 minutes in a 350-degree oven. I'll cover it for the first 15 minutes and then uncover it. I took the beans off the burner. They're done simmering. We'll mash those up here in a minute. Let's get this rice going though. I'm just using a box of rice-a-roni Spanish rice, so it's got the vermicelli in it. We've got 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to brown the vermicelli and the rice in the butter for a few minutes. This will keep the rice from being sticky when you brown it like that. So in goes the water, and be careful of the steam. This is going to be super hot. One can diced tomatoes. I'm just following the directions on the box of Spanish rice. We will bring this to a boil and then let it simmer for about 15-20 minutes. And that's the seasoning packet that came with the box of rice. Okay, let's get these beans mashed up. And we'll give it a test of seasoning. I do think it needs just a little bit more salt. And those are ready. Like I said, I don't like them completely emulsified. I like a little bit of bean texture in my refried beans, so I do not mash them all the way or blend them. Now, they look a little runny right now, and they are, but as they cool, they will thicken up and they'll be just perfect. So I'm going to put these in another dish to cool. And there you have it, homemade refried beans.
Making the enchilada sauce and the refried beans give this Mexican-inspired meal a rich and savory flavor that's in a totally different league than any canned products from the grocery store can provide. And having pre-cooked and diced chicken in my freezer is definitely a game changer.